Hey everybody, if you watched the second video and I talked about the combination jam/gym, I figured I'd take you along on the ride as we do some built-ins, basically putting in some cabinets and shelves all in one unit, and that way we have some place where we can close doors to hide mess. For me, it's going to be awesome. I can put away the amplifier as well as the pedals and things like that, tuck everything away so it's not on the ground, and it will give the guitar somewhere to be up high and get them away from danger, any kind of weights or barbells and stuff like that that would be swinging around. So that's going to be the purpose, and since most guitar people understand wood, spruces and maples and things like that, this is a birch and it is a 6-layer, which is pretty cool. It's got some sound deadening properties to it, but we're going to put basically like a dynamat behind it before it goes up against the drywall to also help slow down some of the transfer of noise. And then across the top we're going to do some decorative baffling, and on the walls we'll do some of the panels too. All right, so that's the box. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I am going to do dado cuts so everything kind of fits in. Here, I'm going to take you a little bit closer and show you some of the stuff on this one. I'm just using my router. I've got a table saw, but the table space is pretty small, so it ends up with, I get offline quite a bit, but you know, you can see where I'm going to do some dados, rabbit everything in together here so it just fits nice and tight. It gives me 2 points to nail into so I can kind of cross them over inside and outside. That I'm also going to glue all of the seams, which this one's already been done, so I've got a nice rigid box here that once we put in the shelves, to have plenty of adjustability and shelf space, 2 inches from the outside, from the back, and top to bottom here I've got little pilot holes. This is for the cleats for the shelves, so fully adjustable. And we also routed in here, this is for a piece of wood that's going to stick proud of the overall shelving unit, and that's so the doors will close underneath of it. Kind of makes it a cabinet on the bottom, and that way it's shelf space on the top. Easy peasy, and so far so good. So I'm going to set this to time lapse, and we'll put together another one of these boxes. Sawdust. Let me show you what we're doing here. Oh, you might hear the recycling truck, and it might get loud because we've got a lot of beer bottles and wine bottles in the recycling this week. But that is the shelf cleat, and you have to make sure when you're buying these that you get the right size bit. Some of them are alphabet size, ABC. This is just a regular one, and it comes in standard sizes. This is a 1/4 inch, so I've got a 1/4 inch bit, and what I've done is I put a little piece of electric tape so that I've got a little witness mark to how deep it goes, got it marked off there. Being able to find your witness mark and stay on that witness mark. So this is a nice little wooden drill bit. It's got very sharp edges, but more importantly, it's got this point so that you can come right down to your witness mark, level the drill, and then bring it straight down to get a nice hole that, you know, maybe close to what a drill press would be. Certainly be a lot easier with a drill press. I got a lot of holes to punch. Let's get started. I'll bring in a little closer, show you how these work. I'll just pick one of these random witness marks here. So we'll go with this one with that point, and the fact that it's ridiculously needle sharp. You can go right to where the 2 lines cross, lift it, give it a little stab so you won't have any walking going on, and then you can put so very little pressure here because this thing is so sharp down to my witness mark, and I got a nice clean hole that as long as I do it the same way on the other side, they'll be even. This is really starting to cut into practice time, but at least I'm working in some beer time. Let's get to drilling. I love the smell of sawdust on a balmy winter afternoon. You know, it's times like this that if I had the extra wood and I had the room, I'd make a jig just so I could drill, and get done fast here. But 3 more panels to go. It's a little monotonous, and it took a little bit of time here. It might have, well, it would have been a lot easier with a drill press, but this worked out well. Everything is nice and spaced, 2 inches from the outsides, 2 inches top to bottom, goes all the way down to the 10-inch mark, and I don't think we'll have anything that shouldn't fit in here, and this gives me a lot of adjustment for anything that might be going into the storage cabinets, and also plenty of room for the guitars. All right, we got the side panels done, and everything came out nice on those. They're nice and even. All the holes line up, which is very important. Now we're getting ready to work on the back panel. Hold on one sec. There must be some sort of training mission going on over at the naval base, and it never gets old. So I'm gonna go with the router instead of the table saw. I've got my straight edge 3/4 inch set up. I'm gonna set my line, and I'm also going to use a little bit of a cheater with the other piece of plywood using the factory edge, and I'm gonna use that as my straight edge since it'll span the distance of the board. That way I've got something to guide with, and I'll take a couple of passes and I'll go ahead and data this all the way out so we can get our panel set. I think the plunge router did a great job here as far as keeping a nice clean edge. I set it about a 30-second over so that I can take the finish edge router and come back and cut it. I'll have a nice square box with no odd edges or anything that's going to protrude past what should be the box itself. I've got a couple more lines to cut, a couple more to draw, and 2 more dados to cut into the top panels or the side panels here so that the top panel can sit flush and secure. More plunge routing. It took a little more work here, but I think the plunge router actually did for my workspace, it did a better job for what I need. So now we're going to go ahead and get the side panels on, get some glue on it, get it clamped, and we'll have the makings of a box for cabinet number 1. Okay, the initial fitting looks pretty good. The router walked on me a couple of times. The good news is it's going to be underneath the cabinet part, so there's doors and it's tucked up underneath here, so you really won't be able to see it. And then where there is a little gap, we can always hit that with some wood putty. But we got a nice clean looking box, nice square edges here and flush all the way across the top. So after I run the finish router, after everything is assembled, we'll have a nice tight package. Everything will be square. That means we'll be able to put it into position number 1, get it shimmed into place, lock it in with some screws, and we'll continue on with number 2. All right, folks, it is beer 30. We got the cabinet assembled. Right now I just have it put together with 1 3/4 brads just to hold it, let the glue set up. And then what I'll do tomorrow when I turn it around is I'll put some screws in any of the corner, the stress joint areas, and then I'll come back with my finish router, and anything that's overhanging, we'll go ahead and clean that up so I'll have a nice tight clean box from the outside so we can get it put in place, get it shimmed, and make sure that we have all the cuts in the right spot. It's taken a couple of hours, and I'm not a professional, so there's a couple of mistakes. Luckily, my mistakes will be in the cabinet area, and what is going to be exposed I'll be able to touch up with some wood putty. But I have to say that not doing this in a long time, I'm really happy. All my corners are square, my sides are square. It'll make it that much easier when it goes in place and takes its place inside of the Jam-Gymnasium. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for sticking around to Cars, Guitars, and Guns. I'll leave you with some of the behind-the-scenes footage here between the sneezes and the outtakes. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.